throughout this orientation, we'll pitch to you what we do at DEB here, run you through the events that we do, why debating is something that's great, and like it's definitely something that will help you over the years. But also, debating is something that you should try out, and what we at DEB will do to help you for that. Right, I think starting off, can we move to the next slide? Also, all questions will be addressed at the end of this call, so you can keep putting them in the Q&A or in the chat section. We'll address all of them together at the end. But for the PPT's sake, we'll not be addressing questions. Cool. Starting off with, I think I'll start off with who we are at the Debating Society, right? The Debating Society, SRCC, is a student-led speech and debate training academy. We at the same time promote discussions inclusively and diversely on multiple issues. Literally anything under the sun is something that we deal here at DEB. And this is something that you'll come across multiple times in our presentation. And like, if you end up becoming a part of DEB as well, from feminism to finance to commerce to anything under the sun is a part of DEB. A few things that we do here, we go ahead and we impart communication skills, and we teach our members to become fine speakers and judges of debates. But also along with that, we're the only organization in the college that's mandated to represent Shri Ram College of Commerce at not just national but international tournaments, from Australia to Thailand to multiple other countries. In this year itself, we've gone to over 20 international tournaments. And yep, you will be going to the same if you end up being a part of DEPSOC SRCC. Also, additionally, we have for the last 2 consecutive years been ranked the 2nd best debating society of the Delhi University circuit. Can we move to the next slide? Cool. In the last 50 years of our legacy, we've been able to have some rich and diverse alumni, which we've had the privilege of hosting in our society. The most important of whom is Honorable late Shri Arun Jaitley ji, who was a Union Minister of Finance for the country. Rakesh Om Prakash Kashyap, who's an eminent filmmaker, but also Shri Navdeep Singh Sarna, who's a former Commissioner of India to the United Kingdom. Not just this, the Debating Society, SRCC, has had alumni, not just politicians and bureaucrats, but in the fields of consulting in companies like McKinsey, Bain & Company, LEK Consulting, finance, policy, in multiple other spheres, some of whom you can like hold back and like meet at the end of this orientation. I think, yep, next, moving on, Komal.
So why Debating Society? Before moving on to what you will do for the society and what a debating society does, it's also important to know what the debating society will impart to you and what it will do for you. I understand, like, as freshers, it's very hectic to see so many societies at the same time. There's so much to do. So what the question you should be asking before joining societies is, how will those societies help you? And this is where I think debating society really comes in the spotlight. The way I've seen myself grow in the past year, simply because of the activity that debating is and that we partake in, is immense. And I've seen my fellow mates and friends grow too in terms of their analytical skills, the way we analyze arguments, understand the nuances, see the impacts, and go beyond just the surface level and understand everything in detail. That's something that is really new and something I didn't really do at the school level. But beyond this, it improves your confidence immensely. The constant going to tournaments, talking and taking some losses for the team, it's immense. And it does help you with a lot of your self-esteem, that you understand. It makes you humble, but it also increases your confidence that, okay, this is where I stand. And you know what? It's all right if I stutter a bit or if that is the case. But even beyond this, I think the best part that debate gives you is the structure to your thoughts, how to think about thoughts, the kind of plan of action you have to make whenever you think about any new topic, the kind of research that should go into it, the kind of quick thinking you need, and simply how to articulate those thoughts as well. And most important to me from this DEPSOC that I gained from my experience was the knowledge that you gain. My curriculum at SRCC restricts me to whatever DU wants to teach me, but DEPSOC doesn't have those limits. In that sense, I think it's very flexible. If I want to go and learn about pol sci, I do that. If I want to learn more about feminism, or if I want to learn more about economics and capitalism, I go ahead and do that. And I think that's something that remains for every member too. Whatever field you're into, there's definitely emotions, and there's definitely a place for you here. Like, we'll go ahead and talk about finance, and then we'll talk about tech, and then we'll talk about pol sci, and at the end we'll just talk about food. That's how DevSoc has worked for our experience. So that's something that I think you should keep in mind before you apply for here. Next slide.
All right, so now I'll be walking you through the events that we organize as a society. Next slide. Okay, starting off with Gambit. So Gambit is a tournament that we exclusively organize for freshers. It basically tries to give a platform for all the freshers to not only explore and excel at the activity with their counterparts. So we witness a participation of over 64 teams, and this makes Gambit the largest freshers tournament in India. Next up. Yeah, SRDF. So the Sriram Debating Festival is the heart and soul of the Debating Society of SRCC. It's a celebration of debating and public speaking in its truest forms. From our legacy conventional debate, which is the Sriram Memorial Debate, which is in its 47th edition, to our flagship Asian Parliamentary Debate, the festival witnesses national as well as international participation, and we have a very stellar core adjudication panel. We have cash prizes exceeding 1 lakh rupees and an unparalleled debating quality. Next year would mark the 16th edition of SRDF. Next slide. All right, so this year we introduced a host of new initiatives with the primary aim to further the love for the activity. So first up, we have Sriram Pre-ABP, recognizing the need to host tournaments across diverse formats. We initiated Sriram Pre-ABP as a pilot project of ours. And in that process, we're amongst the very few societies across India to not just have our own Asian parliamentary tournament, but also our very own British parliamentary tournament. Next up is Crossfire. Crossfire is the annual schools debate of the Sriram College of Commerce. The inaugural edition that we held this year was conducted in collaboration with the Association for Democratic Reforms, as well as the Social and Political Research Foundation, and it witnessed participation of over 150 debaters from 40 plus institutions.
So moving on to social and debate training programs that the Debating Society of SRCC hosts. A major social initiative that DevSoc SRCC is a part of is Rahat, the fundraiser debate. Please, next slide. So it is organized by the debating societies of Sriram College of Commerce, Shahid Bhagat Singh College, Sri Venkateshwar College, and Hindi College. What started as a COVID relief initiative in the year 2020 has now turned into a full-fledged initiative of these societies. This year, we had the second edition of Rahat PD, which witnessed participation from 90 teams, also making it the largest Asian parliamentary debating tournament in the country. Through Rahat, we were able to raise donations of more than rupees 1 lakh, almost a 4-time increase from last year's proceeds. All these proceeds food security as well as humanitarian relief. Next slide, please. Moving on to the Sriram debating workshop. So one thing about debating at college level is that it's completely different from the ones that you do at the school level. So in school, it's mostly limited to conventionals and turncoats. However, at the college level, debating mostly takes place in the parliamentary debating formats, to which a lot of you might not be aware of or not be familiar with. And honestly, a lot of us who are currently in the cabinet weren't also aware of it till we were in our school. So in order to introduce and familiarize students to these formats at the very school level, we organize our annual debating workshop for school-going students known as the Sriram Debating Workshop. It is a one-of-its-kind initiative and also the largest school debating workshop taking place in the country, where this year we witnessed participation from 250 plus students from schools pan-India. SRDW is a week-long workshop where we delve into the nuances of parliamentary debating through multiple training sessions, knowledge sessions on themes ranging from social movements to international relations, various mentor group activities, mock debates, and extensive resource sharing. We have also witnessed speaker sessions from world-renowned judges, King's College graduates, and the likes of them. Next slide, please. So now coming to research. So as much of a spontaneous activity parliamentary debating is, or the debating that you will be doing at the college level is, we believe that research is still a quintessential part in order to progress and become better at the activity. So in a place like SRCC, where we largely live and think in binaries, opinions and narratives revolve around a very limited area, the scope of which is more or less limited to finance, commerce, and the related fields. We at DevSoc transcend those boundaries. We talk about and form opinions on topics way beyond our curriculum, on anything and everything, varying from rights to environment to international relations. Because in a debate room, you can come across motions from literally anything in the world. So in order to have a case, in order to have an argument, research is of great importance. Therefore, a major focus of our team rests on research and making it easier and more accessible for all of our members. We do so through knowledge sessions, resource sharing, and discussions. So we have detailed knowledge sessions conducted throughout the year by learned individuals who are quite the best in their fields, extremely helpful to whoever attends them, as it helps you to introduce you to topics and themes that you otherwise might not have come across or weren't exposed to earlier, and it forms a base for your further research. For example, me personally, philosophy was a less discovered subject for me, but in one of the knowledge sessions, I came across it. I developed an interest for the subject, and these knowledge sessions later on helped me read up more on it. So in that way, knowledge sessions are an extremely helpful aid to kickstart your research. Besides this, throughout the year, there is also a constant exchange of resources among the members, both juniors and seniors, in the form of articles, research papers, opinion pieces, etc., along with discussions on anything and everything under the sun. So, yeah, that's about research. Now, Pranav.
All right, guys. So by now you must be wondering how the society functions internally and why you should join the society in general. So basically, we'll be covering three basic things as to what the society does in general, as well as a specific thing which is very nuanced to the society. So the first thing covering is like tournaments, and the very essence of the society is to go to tournaments, right? So there are a lot of tournaments that happen every weekend, each of which you guys will be sent to. Every one of you will get a chance to represent the debating society of SRCC at competitions all over the world, as Mehul talked about, right? We highly encourage participation in such tournaments because it improves you as a debater, but also helps you socialize with other people outside of your society. And personally speaking, that's probably the best outtake of debating that I've had, is to socialize, is to make friends outside of my own friend circle that was only based in college, right? Secondly, talking about mocks and why they're important and how you guys will be going about it. So we'll be conducting inter-college and intra-college mocks. That is that you'll be having mocks within your society as well as with societies outside of your college, such as from big societies with Hindu, SBS, CBS, etc. And you'll be judged by seniors which have established themselves in the activity per se throughout the DO circuit. So you'll be given feedback as to those speeches that you gave, the cases that you run, and that's just going to be a very wholesome experience for you. And you'll be mandated to do a certain number of mocks throughout the year to keep you engaged with the activity and with the society in general as well, right? And I think third last part, that's the most enjoyable part of your tenure at debating society, is mentor groups, and how you guys will be distributed into smaller groups with few seniors being responsible for that particular group, and how you guys will be engaging with each other on a regular day-to-day basis. You guys will be having informal sessions, chill sessions with each other, informal interactions, debate watching sessions, just normal informal interaction with seniors as well. So that just encourages you to go and talk to your seniors and bond with your seniors that you probably wouldn't be able to do in an online medium, right? So understanding that everything is online, we think that smaller groups are better for interaction than just breaking that ice between peers as well. Also talking about growth potential, and probably the most important thing when it comes to debating and the debating society in general, that even Komal talks to you about, that why you should debate and how you can see yourself after 5-6 months of debating, right? A few basic things that you can expect out of yourself or becoming better is like you having better communication skills. Your approach to problem solving becomes way better in terms of how you look at problems and how you aspire to solve those problems. Your socialization skills and people skills become way better in terms of you directly going and contacting people for feedback, you going and talking to them about their experiences, lived experiences that they've had throughout their debating careers, etc. So in a whole, I'm thinking that you'll become a better person in general with regards to your persuasiveness, your biases being reduced, etc. So on and all, you become a better individual in these 6 months, that I guarantee you. And on those basis, Nipun will take forward achievements that we've had over the past 12 months.
Thank you, Pranav. Next slide, please. Starting off, we as a society do our absolute best to provide the safest possible environment to people, especially when debating in its essence is such a competitive activity. We're the first and the only society that has a formalized equity committee and an equity procedure. We have a 50% quota for non-cis male identifying members in our society during recruitment. We look for diversity in multiple spheres, not restricted to gender itself, and we try our best to maintain a very diverse crowd. We have representation of the equity team on our interview panels. We understand that recruitments can be very stressful since you guys are freshers coming to the society, and there exists a power dynamic between us being seniors recruiting completely new juniors. On every interview panel, there will be an equity officer at all points. Our grievance redressal mechanism will also work on recruitment. If in any situation you feel uncomfortable about anything, please feel free to contact us. Further, a lot of conversations that happen in debating can disproportionately harm certain individuals. For this, the presence of an equity committee, an equity procedure, and certain actions ensures a safe environment and a comfortable environment for you to present your views. Next slide, please. Let's move on to the achievements of our society. Over the past 12 months, we've been able to achieve over 100 credentials in our society. We've achieved accolades across multiple countries like Australia, Canada, Philippines, Thailand, Singapore, Malaysia, Pakistan, and Bangladesh, among others. Over the years, we've won debates at LSR, IIM Ahmedabad, IITD, DSC, CNLU, NUJS, RGNUL, RML, NLSIU Bangalore, Nalsar Hyderabad, and NLU Delhi. Aside from this, we also have multiple accolades across the DU circuit. Next, we'll be presenting an experience video that we have specifically curated for the freshers for our society so that you guys can get a hint of what being in the debating society feels like, especially from the people who have been here in the past, that is our ex-members.
Yeah. Moving ahead, you must all be wondering like what are we looking for from you in the debating society SRCC? We do understand that you're just from first year, you're stepping into the college as a first year, and yeah, we expect very basic things from you. The first thing we expect is your genuine willingness to learn from others. The debating activity in itself is a continuous learning process. As Komal mentioned before, you'll be debating about everything and you'll be learning a lot of new things in this activity, in the due course of being in a society in itself. So you must be having a genuine willingness to learn from others. Secondly, we expect you to have an open mind. The activity in itself is competitive and involves conflicting ideas, opinions, and clashes. So having an open mind and being flexible enough to listen and understand others' opinions and views is as important as anything in society. And a very important clarification to make here is that no prior experience is required to join the depths of SRCC. I'll repeat, we do not require any prior experience from you to join the Debating Society SRCC. So you must be having a misconception that, okay, I should have debated before in school to join depths of SRCC. No, that's not the case. Your willingness to learn and having an open mind is the only thing we expect from you. As long as you're willing to learn, we welcome you. And take it for example, I and most of the cabinet members for that case, we do not debate in schools or have any prior experience in public speaking. So we'll teach you the activities once you guys join the societies and no prior experience is required. I repeat. Moving on, Egyptian, next slide. So coming to the recruitment process and how we are going about it, there are 4 stages. The first one is the application form. We'll roll out the application form as soon as the orientation gets over. And this form is open till the 8th of December. It is a non-eliminative form. By which I mean anyone who fills it will be allocated a group discussion slot. And it's a pretty basic application form and it won't take more than 2 minutes for you guys to fill. Nextly, post the application, we'll have a group discussion. The allocations for the group discussions will be done as per the guidelines of the equity committee, which Mehul will be explaining next. The next step is the research task. We'll be mailing out the research task. The shortlisted candidates will get a mail about the research task and the details and how to proceed on their mail itself. This is a non-eliminative task, so don't worry, guys. The last step is the personal interview, which is eliminative. It is a research-based personal interview which revolves around certain themes. So this is the last stage, and after the interviews, we'll announce the shortlisted candidates who are getting into the DEPSOC SRCC. Now, Mehul will explain you about certain intricacies in the process.
Yeah, Mehul just informed me of some network issues. I'll just take it up about the equity thing. All right, so about group discussion allocations, we've decided on a method that makes it as inclusive as we can make it for now. When you look at the application form, a question will ask you about your proficiency in English. It's not to weed you out. This is a standard question we ask to understand how comfortable you are with the language, on the basis of which we'll have some allocation. So you're in a group where you're more comfortable speaking in English in general, because we understand that not everyone that comes to SRCC comes with a background that is very fluent in English. Like even I primarily don't speak in English at my home, so it is quite tough. There are a lot of members that have also faced issues, so we have that. So that's not something you should worry about the proficiency in English proficiency. If you're not very fluent, even that is fine. We as DEPSOC are very inclusive. As long as you have good ideas, as long as you're analytical, long as you're open-minded in the things that we mentioned before, we're willing to select you as long as you show the commitment and the willingness to learn. That's really it. So there's that about the equity. Another question is for CA students, because exams may overlap. So there's a question if you are appearing for the exams in the December session, that's also just to understand and to allocate you into GDs that finish before your CA exam so they don't clash with them. So that's really it. If there's any other questions, we'll take them up in the chat box, I think right about now, right? Jabjot, you can. Oh, no, Jabjot, share the screen, just next slide. Sorry, that was my bad. Apart from that, if there's any questions, we'll take them up. We'll look at the chat as well. And if there's questions about the equity process in itself, let us know and we'll answer them.